Good evening, everyone. We are back again tonight to have a very interesting topic that we have not covered before, totally, and that is lactation consultants. Tonight, I am pleased to bring Brandi Martin, who is an international board certified lactation consultant, and she's also a certified nurse midwife. Brandi trained to work in hospital, birth center, and home births. And over the last 12 years, she has really enjoyed educating and supporting women and their families along with their pregnancy, during their pregnancy, the birth, the postpartum, and their breastfeeding journey. So she's done a lot of support for families. Currently, she is working with women and families in the Washington, D.C., Virginia, and the Baltimore areas, providing lactation support in the office, also virtually, and during home visit. So, supporting moms and babies is like really paramount for her. It's always been her passion and a calling. Brandi is a mother of two little ones, and she truly understands and appreciates the support, care, and education that a birth professional can provide. With her knowledge and experience, she hopes to support as many women and families as she possibly can with the gifts that God has given her and blessed her with. And Brandi is the owner of the company called The Perfect Latch, and she launched that company in 2022. So let's bring Brandi on.
Hello,
Brandi,
hello.
we're so excited to have you with us tonight. How are you?
I am good. Thank you for having me. Such a pleasure.
I'm so excited that you can join us tonight. So let's just learn a little bit more about you. I talked about the fact that you're a mom, you got two little ones, but let's who is Brandi?
Who is Brandi? Oh, I am a travel nurse by heart. I am a multitasker. I love juggling things, hence why I love having two kids because it's always something to do.
Okay.
I have always been interested in maternal infant health, and my area of expertise right now is lactation, and my new area is midwifery. So excited about that new journey that I have to take on as a new grad, but I'm excited and ready. So yeah.
Great. So any particular hobbies that you enjoy?
Yes, I love cooking. Cooking is a stress reliever for me. I love reading. I love shopping, traveling, and I'm very big on having different like recipes. My husband teases me because I like to look at recipes. I just like to look at them, and then I do my own thing. So I'm like, oh, it's
Okay.
not a reference, and then I just go and do my own thing. So that's my favorite thing to do when I'm cooking. So
Okay, that sounds like fun and interesting food to eat, right?
it always
Never
tastes good
boring.
though.
There you go. There you go.
It always tastes good though.
That's
So.
great. So, how did you decide to become a lactation consultant? Can you kind of tell us about that journey? Like, how did you get there? You know, what made you decide that that's what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so I started nursing school in 2012, and my first job was on the postpartum maternity unit. That's a unit that takes forever to get on, and so
Yes.
I literally applied one time, got in, which was great because the manager was an alum of my program at Shenandoah, and I got there, and that was my career. Majority of my nursing career was postpartum, and then I started travel nursing, and then it always frustrated me that I had to call the lactation consultant to come in to help with someone who was breastfeeding. And I'm
Wow.
like, this is just annoying. Like, I'm very much, if I could do it myself, I don't like asking other people to do it. So I just started learning and I started like helping moms out. I'm like, I like this. And it's very motivating because you have a mom who's like, oh my goodness, you helped me latch the baby. Like it is the ultimate thing. And so that's kind of where my idea of the perfect latch kind of started. Like back then, before I
Uh-huh.
even started my company, it was just the fact that like when a mother latches her baby, it's just like, it's like, oh my goodness, it's the best thing in the world. And that concept evolved over time as I started working with moms who couldn't latch their baby, but we had to do like SNS tubing, which is a tubing that goes on the breast to help baby latch, but to still get supplement. I had to teach moms how to bottle feed. And so that's all lactation. And so whatever latch is perfect for you and your baby, that's the perfect latch. And everyone won't be able to breastfeed. Everyone will have a natural time of breastfeeding. And so it evolved for me over time. And I was a nurse in literally about 10 years in postpartum. And then I was like, I should like look into getting certified with this. And so with that, I had well over 1,000 hours of clinical connection with patients because I worked at the hospital. So you need to have hours of working with clients, doing lactation support. I had majority hospital, but I wanted to get outpatient. And so I found a mentor up here in Columbia, Maryland, Dr. Ann Files. She is amazing. And she is IBCLC, and she said, no, you can do this. Like, you know, so I had all of my sciences and everything background. So you need that. And then you take the exam. It's $500, and it is an exam that is intense, but it wasn't too bad. And so after I passed the boards the first time, thankfully, I'm certified. And so when you're certified, you can work internationally. So I can work in America, I can work in Spain, I can work in Africa, wherever, because it's international, which is awesome. Unlike nursing, I have to get a license in every state. Lactation, I can work anywhere. So I can see you virtually out of Spain. I can see you virtually in DC, in Virginia. So that's a process. There's a lot of pathways you can take. So some people who aren't nurses can become lactation consultants. You just have to go through more of a different course load. We have to do 90 hours of education, and then supplement that with your doing your hours in helping people with breastfeeding. For a certain amount of hours. So once you do that, you sit for the boards, and then you have it. And we renew every 5 years, which is nice. So yeah, that is how you do it.
So we actually have someone who's watching who said, yeah, she definitely helped me in my journey.
Yay!
So that's really great. I wanted to ask, for the times that you've been helping moms, what are the kind of common things that you come across that you can almost expect that it might be something that every mom might experience? Anything that you can think of to share?
I mean, number one is trying to get an efficient latch, like trying to get a latch that is comfortable, not painful. But the majority of the time, it is sore nipples when a baby is trying to latch. And that is the main reason that people stop breastfeeding, is because of nipple pain and the inability to latch. There's this whole idea that, a baby is born and they just naturally latch to a breast.
Yeah, that's true.
Not the case. And I like to tell my clients that I do a prenatal class, and I tell them that before, and it's really important to get that, so you have the education to know your baby may or may not latch, instantly. They can, but then they can't. And so this is why I give you tips before to watch out for, and then we practice watching videos and things like that to help you to get that. But that's some of the main reason that people stop breastfeeding. So sore nipples. Other thing we really come in contact with is engorgement. When your milk is coming in, it gets really full and your breasts get really, really full. And that makes it also hard for babies to latch sometimes. That's a challenging phase that moms go through in the first 3 to 5 days. A big time where people want to give up because then it gets really sore and uncomfortable. But that's just naturally your body is filling with milk, what it's supposed to do. And when we know that coming before it happens, we know what to expect, and we won't affect the process. We can hinder the process by thinking, we need to put the pump on to get the milk out. But we have to remember, a lot of the time when milk is filling in, a lot of the fluid from labor has to come out of your body, and that's where it goes. And so our breasts are really full. So after mom might breastfeed, they might say, my breasts still feel full, I need to pump. And then we start doing damage. So it's like, we don't want to do that. But engorgement, sore nipples. Other big thing is mastitis. We see that, and that is from a lot of the times lack of pulling the milk out, and then also sleeping through breastfeeding, and then also baby having a bad latch that could cause nipple tearing, bleeding, that can allow infection to go in. But a lot of times it's more so inflammation that's happening in the breast, and we have a whole new protocol that's been out about treating that. So that's a new program that literally just came out in 2023 compared to the one that's been out for years. So we are educating people about that. And then another big thing we see is tongue ties. That's a new big thing now, especially with the articles that come out about midwife and lactation consultants just sending people to get tongue tie releases. But that can affect.
Can you explain that a little more?
Yeah. So when a baby is born, we look in their mouth to see if there's any tethered tissue. So in our tongue, we have that string there, and it's called tethered oral tissue. If it's tethered too tight to the tip or close, a baby needs to be able to stretch their tongue over their gum line. And if it's tethered, they can't. And as a result, they're pinching on your nipple and they're giving a shallow latch, which can cause bleeding, cracking, sore. If you're trying to latch your baby and you feel like your toes are curling and you're like, gotta take a breath, and it's painful, that's when we know like there could be a tongue tie. Breastfeeding can be uncomfortable, but it should not be painful the entire time. You should not be trying to breathe and try to put make yourself get through it. That's not a good latch, and we should have baby assessed for that to see how you can get that resolved.
Okay. I would tell moms in my work as a midwife and being up through the night when I had night call and make sure I'd be on the floor was to let them know that you've never breastfed and your baby's never breastfed.
Yeah.
So it's both of us are learning together. And so the more you practice, the better it and to try to alleviate the feeling that, as you mentioned, that baby would automatically know the minute they're out of the womb how to breastfeed. That's generally not the case.
Not the case. They know how to crawl to the breast. They know how to smell it. They know how to get to it. And that's why our areolas get so large during pregnancy, because it allows the baby to, oh, no, that's where we're going. And they're rooting. They're learning to suck inside the tummy. So they have that. But trying to get them on and teach them to go deep because they've been tight. So their body is tight. Their oral cavity is tight as well. So they have to learn to open up and take in and go that route. So they've been used to us feeding them. Now they have to feed themselves. And
exactly.
Everyone's learning. So, yeah.
So I would also ask you, what would be 3 tips that you would give to moms? So we've talked about some of the things that are pretty common as you work with women, things that you see that are pretty common and things to expect. We've talked about the fact that you could have sore nipples, that latching on is generally a learned thing. It's not something that is automatic, that it just takes time, but that can happen. We've talked about the fact of mastitis, which is infection that can be treated, and engorgement. Engorgement is very common, where the breasts are really full, and there are things that you can do to help with that, to help the baby to be able to breastfeed. But what things, 3 tips that you'd give that are crucial for moms to be able to have success in their breastfeeding journey?
Yeah, 3 tips. One is just like how we do childbirth education. You want to do some type of prenatal breastfeeding education. So it's like you kind of want to know what you're getting yourself into. And that's the one thing that's why I started my class. I have a prenatal breastfeeding class that I hold at Birth Care in Alexandria on the 3rd Wednesday of every month. And it's an in-person class. And literally I go through and I teach what are the basics that you need to know before baby comes. It's so easy to, just like I said, just think that everything's fine and baby will be fine. So getting a good prenatal class is important. We kind of go over what baby's tummy size is, how much baby should be eating, what physiologic engorgement is in those first few days, what that looks like. So those are important things. And then also, most importantly, what we talk about tips, 10 tips that your partner can do to help you breastfeed well. So it's a 2 for 1 special. Like baby was made with 2, breastfeeding is going to be successful with 2 or more. And so that's Not something that we cover in class. So that's the first tip I would say. The second tip, which goes into that, is having a supportive partner. Having someone who knows what to expect when it comes to breastfeeding, because you don't want to hear in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. when baby's not latching, oh, just give him a bottle. You're not saying bottles are wrong, but if your goal is to breastfeed, you need a partner who's going to say, okay, we got this. Let's try again. Let's try this different route. And they're educated as well. Because majority of the time, breastfeeding moms are successful because they have supportive partners. So make sure you have, and so I have a lot of times when I have my classes, my clients will say, you said in the email my partner should come, but why didn't he need to come? I was like, that's why they should come. So we all can educate on their purpose and how good, it is to have a support system. So I always offer and open the class to whoever your partner is, whoever's going to be supportive for you. And then my last tip is having like supplies is always good to have in preparation. We kind of go over that in the class as well too. Preparing yourself for success. Like we said, there's going to be physiologic engorgement. There could be sore nipples. So let's make sure we have some good nipple cream. We have engorgement. We like to encourage ice. So having nice, cool ice packs. Snacks. Breastfeeding is calorie burning. We burn about 300 calories a day just breastfeeding. And I just saw my friend actually sent me this Instagram about how it's like we're running 7 miles just from breastfeeding. And people don't think of that. And I tease that. And I said it to my husband, look, I'm sitting here running while I'm breastfeeding. So that's why we're going to be hungry. So having appropriate snacks, making sure that you are replenishing yourself for that. I think I gave you way more than 3 tips, but those are a lot of the important tips. Get a prenatal class, get education, have a good support system, and then making sure that you have your supplies to get you off to a great start. And then, of course, like I said, when you get the prenatal, you will have a lactation consultant see you in the first week is always the most important thing, because that's the first time a latch is trying to be established. So don't push it off. Try to get someone to see you and support you in that first, because that's the first opportunity to allow success to happen when we can get a good latch in that first week.
A couple of things that you've mentioned. You're mentioning in terms of the timing to get a lactation consultant. Mm-hmm. So how is a lactation consultant paid? Is it a part of the program if you are in a hospital or birth center, or have your baby at home? Is it a part of the overall plan that you're purchasing? Does insurance pay for this, or is it something that you have to pay out of pocket? Would it be covered by, we've got all kinds of different types of insurance, whether it's Medicaid, whether it's private insurance, whether self-pay. So how is a lactation consultant paid for?
Good question. So there are many avenues to cover a lactation consultant. If you're having a baby at a birth center, usually the midwives are versed in getting baby latched, assessing in that initial phase. Not all midwives have lactation as a background, but they can get you started. So you can have that there. Even in the hospital, you have lactation consultants who are in the hospital. You can get seen there for that first day or two when baby is born. And that is usually covered under your global fee and everything with the insurance there. After is the most important thing. We can have support there once baby is born, but it's the most important when you're home. That's when you need the most support. So I always encourage, one, when you do a prenatal breastfeeding class, you've established a relationship with the lactation consultant before your baby comes. So when baby comes, I tell my clients, once baby comes, send me a text, email me, say baby's here. If you're comfortable, if you felt like it was a good rapport we had, if not, find someone else. But you're like, hey, we found it. Hey, baby's here. Okay, let's set you up an appointment. You've already established something. You're not in the middle of breastfeeding at 2 a.m. and like, I need to find somebody. So trying to be prepared in that sense. Usually lactation is covered through your insurance. Most insurance companies will not tell you this. You get about 6 visits that are covered. Okay. I don't like to use the word free. I don't like to use the word free because we paying for insurance. And so we're paying for it. But usually 6 sessions are covered. After that, there's they just have to, kind of vet it a little more, but usually 6 sessions are covered. So like my education class, that would be one that's covered. My visit, is covered. And then any other visits you need, because usually you don't just see a lactation the first time to get baby latched. I follow up with
Right.
you at least 2 times after,
Mm-hmm.
just to make sure that what we talked about is being in works, and then I see you again. So you have 6 sessions. If you don't have insurance, we also have, there is options for peer counselors. You can go to a WIC office, for example, and they'll have groups. You can always find
Okay.
lactation support groups. I
Okay.
know I just had a friend who told me Mercy Hospital has a lactation support. You just walk in the hospital and they have a lactation group there, and you can bring you and your baby, and it's free, and they will come around and they'll do weighted feeds. They will watch you in a sense. It's a group, but those are options for people who can't pay or who don't have insurance. Because
Okay.
yes, that is always the thing. Lactation consultants can be what we call, it's a little pricey, people say. If you pay out of pocket, it can be anywhere between $100 and about $300, depending on that
Wow.
person. But what that includes is I'm coming to your home, and I'm usually at people's home for 2 hours. Like, I'm never there for shorter than like 45 minutes. I don't think I've ever been
Right.
to a home. I'm there for 2 hours. I'm helping you. I'm showing you things, and I have so much fun. This time goes by. I need to probably stop going for so long. But when you do that, you break down the 2 hours, you break down the traveling, you break down coming back home, you break down doing the charting, sending you care plan.
Yes. Yes.
When you break all that, not that I'm being money hungry, but when you break all that down, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is worth it.
Yes.
And so it's you have to understand your goal, and if you really want to breastfeed, then you'll know that there's options that you can get supported through.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
mhm.
And so you also said about this, running 7 miles. I hear that, and it's also been my experience that when women breastfeed, they actually can lose weight after they've had their baby without dieting. So is that true?
I mean, don't take me, because I got a 7-month-old and it ain't dropping as fast as I would like. And I breastfed my first for 2 years. So one, because the thing is, I'm breastfeeding, but then I feel so starved afterwards. Like, your body feels like you just literally gave your life over to this kid. So you're like, I want all
Wow.
the
Yes.
food. So
Yes.
I said, my second pregnancy, I said, I'm gonna eat healthy. I'm gonna eat better with this one. It doesn't matter. You just get this craving inside of you, and you're like, oh my goodness. Because literally, just like a marathoner would do, you need to replenish your body. That's how it is on a regular.
Yes.
So don't get on the trying to get your body snatched right now. It'll come later. But you can
Yes.
lose weight. But I think sometimes we tend to kind of gain back or maintain because we're eating a lot to compensate for that.
Okay.
But I say, try to eat healthy, I like to always say coconut water, coconut milk, oatmeal. These are things that help to build your milk supply, which is also important too. You're trying to make sure you feed your milk supply. Breast milk is 80% water. So not saying you have to drink a gallon every day, but just hydrating, and then eating healthy and replenishing that protein. Just like in pregnancy, breastfeeding, we need 60 to 80 grams of protein just to help to make and
Yes.
produce.
Yes.
Regardless if you don't eat, your body will take everything from you to provide for that baby. So there are some times where it's like, if you don't feel like you want to eat or anything, your body will still make the food, but the milk, but we still want to make sure we're encouraging you to eat and, keep your supply up and things like that. But the biggest thing is, like, I like people to remember and notice is, like, breastfeeding is supply and demand. If you don't take the milk out, your body's not going to think that you want to make it. So every
Ah,
2 to 3
yes.
hours, it's important to tell your body, we're taking milk out because we want to make it. That's how milk is made in the body. There's
Yes.
tons of supplements that people can get, and I'm popping supplements. But if you're not telling your body to take the milk out frequently, you're just taking pills. So, there's that importance of that as well. So,
Right, because the body is, as you mentioned, it's based upon demand and based upon how much your baby is feeding. People are
yes,
not people may not be aware, but women are able to breastfeed twins and breastfeed twins
yes,
successfully.
yes.
Um, Also, that the breast milk changes as the baby's growth
Mm-hmm.
and development goes on, that the milk actually changes and is customized to each individual baby. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It, you can't buy breast milk. I mean, we can, there's all different brands on the market, but
mm-hmm.
it says as much as, or it will say something like breast milk, but it's
Right,
not
but
breast
it's not. Yeah, it's not.
milk.
It's not.
Yeah.
Any
So
germs I come in contact with, because I have a toddler, so I have germs from daycare. Any of that come in, my body's making antibodies for my baby to eat, and he's being immune to things that we come in contact with. Can't find that on
yes,
a shelf.
no, no,
So
no,
yeah,
no. Well, gee, this has been informative. We've learned a lot over the past few minutes in terms of what does it take to become a lactation consultant. We've also learned about some of the things to expect, that it's also a wise idea to do a class during your pregnancy so that you know what to expect and that you are not kind of in an emergent situation wishing you had a lactation consultant at 2 o'clock in the morning on day
right,
3 after you're at home.
right, right.
We've also learned that it's not automatic that babies are going to know how to breastfeed. And so we need that should be really helpful to moms because it should take away some of the sense of why I can't do this. And it's not that at all. It's just you've never breastfed, the baby's never breastfed. And
Mm-hmm.
so you're both learning together.
Yeah,
We've learned about latching. We've learned about some little things that can come up to be problems, such as mastitis. Engorgement is real. That's something to be expected, but there are measures to alleviate that. To also know to have things on hand, such as nipple cream, things such as ice packs, to have those things already in your home and that there's more than one way to be able to access the services of a lactation consultant. Um, Insurance seems to cover this also, and that you can there are a lot of things that we don't know we have access to through our insurance companies because a lot of times the providers are not telling you,
yeah,
and
yeah,
sometimes they themselves may not be fully aware.
yeah.
But Brandy's mentioned that some insurance companies will cover 6 visits, which is a lot of visits.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that that's like a prenatal visit. And then once you're in wherever you have your baby, whether it is hospital, birth center, or at home, those are follow-up visits,
Yes.
that you can be seen. And really, I would say it's probably the first couple weeks that I would say really, as you mentioned, that first 3 to 5 days critical and key
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't feel in that time frame that you're able to do this, often women will stop.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Also, how important it is to have a supportive partner, and I would say supportive family
Mm-hmm.
members. I know many times I've had grandmothers, I've had aunts, I've had other family members talk women out of breastfeeding because they themselves
Yes.
never
Yep.
breastfed.
Mm-hmm.
And that also we can't make breast milk. No producer can make breast milk. Every brand that's on the shelf, it always says most like. It doesn't. It cannot advertise that it's breast milk. It'll say most like. So
So you can
anyhow,
say, yeah, yeah.
Brandy is. We're going to put her information in the description. Her company is the Perfect Latch.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she's located here in the Maryland, DC, Virginia area, because she is an international lactation consultant, she could work with you wherever you are. And so we will provide that information in the description. And I just want to say, Brandy, thank you so much for this time and for giving us your wisdom. We're really excited. We want to wish you the best in your work as a midwife. We
Yes,
know we
thank
need that. And
you.
I just want to say for those who are in the audience, if this is your first time, I hope that you will subscribe to my channel. I've
Subscribe.
always said, tell your mama, your sister, your brother, your auntie, your uncle, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your sister, your brother, everybody. Tell everyone so that we can share the information that we have in our community. We know that attention really needs to be paid. As much as we're dealing with maternal mortality, maternal deaths, we also are having problems with infants, and nutrition is one big thing. So I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, and we will see you. Take care. Have a great evening.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you so much.
Thank you.